Dear friends and followers, welcome back to my channel and colourful greetings from my local tattoo joint. I'm just getting my logo tattooed onto my arm by the lovely tattoo artist Olivia. So whilst Olivia is stitching me up, I'll answer a very common question: can a pilot have tattoos and smoke cigarettes whilst flying? Let's get started. And yay, this is painful.
Separating from November to Papa behind the MD-88 to Towers 23-9. Have a good night.
Tattoos have become the walking art of the 21st century. As I did the research for this video, I was quite surprised to read how many people have tattoos nowadays. The statistics here show 38% of the world's population has at least one tattoo on their body. In my opinion, that's a lot of ink being stitched under the skin. Well, I belong to the 62% of people who don't have a tattoo until today. Because a few years back, I admit I really considered on getting one, as I thought I had a reason enough for a lifelong message on my body. I donated my bone marrow to a leukemic patient. The operation went very smoothly, and so did the transplant into his body. He's up and running, so technically I saved someone's life with this donation. Now, speaking to a friend of mine who did the same and saved the life of his sister, had his blood type and 10 stars marking the scars on his hip tattooed in memory of his action. That to me was a good enough reason to have a tattoo, but somehow I have yet never found the time to do so. Maybe subconsciously I never went because of today's question, as my personal tendency is to answer today's question with no, you shouldn't have tattoos as a pilot. Now, I specifically said shouldn't, meaning you can, but. Okay, let's picture this scenario. I am the chief pilot of a private jet company called Joe Air, and we are hiring currently one new pilot. Now, I've nailed it down to 2 pilots, both passed the simulator with flying colors, but the owner of the airline has the final saying on who will be given the job. And these are our 2 candidates. Here we have pilot Andre and pilot Chris. Now, which one do you think will the owner of the company hire? Now, comment below your honest opinion. Again, both have equal experience, been to the same flight school, flown the same plane, and have the same amount of hours and performed fantastically in the simulator. Now, I don't want to sound discriminating, but Andre, the pilot without the tattoos, got the job. And the chances are very high other airline CEOs or chief pilots will have a similar opinion. Now, keep in mind, chief pilots are very experienced pilots and often a little older than the modern tattoo era. Meaning they have a certain picture what a pilot is supposed to look like. Now, especially if you apply to a passenger airline. And your future passengers can be very judgmental, as we are becoming a society who's basing everything on the look of a person, hashtag Instagram. A pilot with tattoos all the way up to his neck doesn't match the tidy, professional look as a passenger expects. I've read the craziest things what people say about others with tattoos. Low self-esteem, show-offs, attention seekers, rebellious, just a few to mention. And most likely the psychologist at your airline interview will look for those behaviors if you shake his hand and have tattoos on your forearm. Now, you say, I will cover up my tattoos during the interview. That's a great idea, nothing bad about that, but your pilot career starts after the interview, and nearly every airline has a strict policy that states any form of visible tattoo has to be covered up during working hours. Meaning, if you were to have tattoos from your shoulders all the way down to your wrist, you'll be wearing a long sleeve shirt because your company requests you to. So keep in mind, you'll be doing that for the rest of your pilot career. You'll be that pilot who wears a long sleeve shirt all day, all year long. Now, let's look on how flight attendants deal with tattoos, as they are in direct contact with their passengers compared to the pilots who are safe behind the cockpit door. Do you have any tattoos has become a standard question nowadays during flight attendant recruitments. And the new cadets better not lie about it, as airlines have kicked out flight attendants who weren't honest at the interview, and during their training or supervision phase, their tattoo was spotted by one of their instructors. Just picture this, you're in business class, you've paid $5 for a ticket, and the flight attendant comes around serving you champagne, handing you the glass, and you spot, I don't know, live and let die tattooed on the inner wrist. As a passenger, You might question the lady's motivation, or others maybe feel offended by that quote due to maybe religious reasons. Now, so for that reason, flight attendants are requested to hide their life-lasting artwork, and trust me, I've seen the most awkward ways of hiding their tattoos. Now, watches with wide enough wristbands, plaster bandages, or thick layers of camouflage makeup. And this here is my former colleague Danielle, the funniest guy ever, a great senior cabin crew member and very professional. But one day I questioned him, Danielle, why do you always wear a long sleeve shirt? Until we went to the beach that day and he revealed his incredible artwork on his entire upper body. Now, the other very interesting question, am I allowed to smoke as a pilot? Now, well, why don't I ask you guys? Because guess how many no smoking signs you think you can count on a standard Boeing 737-800? There's one in each seat row, that's 30 times 2, so 60, and in each lavatory, so somewhere in between 60 to 70 no smoking signs. So you think, these 70 smoking signs are just for the passengers. I'm the pilot, I can smoke a whole pack if I want during flight.
Smoking or non-smoking?
Smoking, please.
There. Have a nice trip.
Mate, do whatever you want. Trust me, someone will report you one day for smoking in the cockpit, not adhering to the flight safety and operations manual, and you will lose your job in a matter of seconds. Now you say, why isn't there still an ashtray in the lavatory? In case a passenger hides inside the lavatory to have a smoke and a flight attendant spots smoke coming from the lavatory, the flight attendant will knock on the door asking the passenger to vacate the toilet immediately. Now, in the heat of the moment, the dumb smoking passenger can then extinguish his cigarette in the metal ashtray rather than throwing it into the bin filled with paper towels, setting the plane on fire. That is the only reason for the ashtray in the lavatory. Fellas, do yourself and primarily your body a favor and don't even start smoking or quit whilst you can. You will make your life so much easier, especially if you were planning on becoming a pilot, regarding your health, medical examinations, etc. The places you are allowed to smoke at airports, 99% of the time are outside of the terminal building, or you have to go into one of those cigarette branded smoke dungeons, which after you smell like you've rolled through a fire pit when you get out of them. And don't give me that lame excuse, I'll choose the healthier option and suck on an e-cigarette. It's complete BS. It says on the package what it does to you, your body, and people surrounding you. And here's one for you. Give me 3 good reasons. How does smoking improve your life? Comment below. Whatever you do to your body, may it be a tattoo, smoking cigarettes, taking drugs, drinking alcohol, you name it, you have to take 100% responsibility for all your actions in life. You can do whatever you want nowadays, but be mindful about it, what you do to yourself, and just don't do it because everyone else is doing it. That's it for today. Thank you very much for your time. Here's your checklist. Subscribe to my channel, check. Activate the notification bell, check. Follow my Instagram account, check. And don't forget, a good pilot is always learning. See you next week. Wishing you all the best. Your Captain Joe.